Welcome everyone to another video. I was sitting here having lunch, or thinking rather, and something came into mind as I was traveling yesterday, and I wanted to do a video about it because it's not something that we know about in the West, that we know about in America. And as an African American that's come back home, repatriated, and also moving forward on my spiritual journey, I wanted to just impart this wisdom to you guys who are trying to take back your culture, right? Um, and so today's video is titled, what did I title it? Hold on, I'm getting too formal. How I Met You is How I Contact You. How I met you is how I contact you. How I met you is how I contact you. Now, you see, I put this on the As You Are in One Thing, You Are in All Things series. And I did it for a reason. And for those of you who don't know, there is a African proverb from a Dogon priest, and it states that as you are in one thing, you are in all things, meaning how you behave, how you look at things, how you do things in one particular area, in one particular instance, in one way of life is how you are in other ways of life. And so that's so true in so many areas that I had to do a series about it. And so, how I contact you, or how I met you is how I contact you, had to be under under this series because it's oh so relevant, right? And as I go into this, you'll see why. So early on in my travel to Africa, it was said to me, when you go and you're introduced to someone, you don't give people your number. There's going to be a lot of people that ask for your number. Don't give people your number. If you need to contact anyone, you go through the person that you met them through, to contact them. Now, you know me, the Harriet Tubman of her time. I am rebellious, and I just didn't understand. What do you mean? I'm here, I'm on vacation. What do you mean I can't exchange numbers? I can't network, I can't keep in touch. It just seemed ludicrous to me. But you have to imagine, I'm coming from America. We all are coming from a Western paradigm. But as I began to go about my journey, as I began to meditate on that more, and even in that trip, I began to see different things happen. Like people who would give their number out, they would be harassed. Um, they would um, get themselves into trouble. Those people meant them no good. Um, they ended up, veering off course. There was just a bunch of things that had happened. I don't remember much good happening from the people who contacted or kept in contact with those who they weren't supposed to. It was, I remember thinking it was a sense of protection, as if to say, you have a reputation with me, that person has a reputation with me, and I can protect both sides. I can represent and barter and negotiate for both sides, which is true. And you have to think about that, right? If you go into a new place and you're meeting someone for the first time, you're in a new country, a new city, you don't know someone, and you're doing business, you're meeting someone, you're trying to maybe buy or even just go out, You don't know this person, you don't know their history, you don't know their background, you don't know what they're capable of, and they don't know what you're capable of. They don't know your history and they don't know your background. Isn't it better to have someone help navigate the relationship, especially in the beginning, to help be that go between? And even if it is business, because Africa is such an entrepreneurial country, it's not like America, where in America, only a small percentage of the population is entrepreneurial. Most people have jobs, most people have 9 to 5s. Only now is there a renaissance happening of entrepreneurs who are starting businesses. Thank you. Okay. Yes, see. Mhm. Only now is there a renaissance happening of entrepreneurs. Yes, see. And so, because of that, Nancy, because of that, you don't know who you're meeting, who you're interacting with. Who's to say when you try to do a business deal, this person will be honest, this person will be integral, and who's to say that you will be honest and you will be integral? It's the insurance that both sides needs. It's like the escrow, right? But a lot of times, as Americans, we don't like to have someone in the middle. We say cut out the middleman. And I never thought I would be on the side of keeping the middleman, especially as an entrepreneur. Especially as an entrepreneur, I always expected myself to say, no, we're going to do vertical integration. As soon as we start mass producing a product, we will, start producing all the components of that product and knock out the competition. And it's just a business, it's an economics thing. But when you think about socially and you think about relationships, it's not supposed to be that way. In order to be fair, in order to be an upstanding human being, even the way you meet someone is the way you contact them. Meaning, if come into a place and I meet you through a mutual contact and we want to do business, we want to see each other again, we want to interact for whatever reason, it's through that mutual contact that we should interact. A lot of times you see this with like auto mechanics, you see this with tailors, you see this in business. And I appreciate learning that lesson here. And as I meditated on it, I said, where else have I seen this? Because in our culture, in African culture, the culture is always rooted in some spiritual principle. There's very rarely, if ever, a time where you see a deeply rooted cultural principle that isn't rooted in some spiritual truth. And so maybe you don't know the truth and you need to learn a little more, but there's normally always a truth there. So when I meditated on it more, I said, where have I seen this before? Where have I seen this concept? Where have I seen this principle? And the thing that came to mind was our relationship with the divine world and the way God created us, right? It almost goes to the pure essence of ancestral veneration. When you think of how the all, God, whatever name you call the great one, how he created you was through your family line, right? Through your mother and father. If not through your mother and father coming together, if not through your ancestors, you would not be here, you would not be created. And therefore, when it goes to you contacting the divine or going through a channel to the gods, it should be through that same channel. How you met God, how God created you is how you will access Him, meaning through your family line, through your bloodline, through ancestral veneration. And so when you sit and meditate on that and you look at how ancestral veneration has been ripped from Western culture, and I say ripped from Western culture, but mainly it's been suppressed from African Americans and masked with religion, however, widely open, widely practiced amongst the society. Okay, you look at the dollar bill, you look at the names on streets, the names of schools, you look at the names of holidays. These are all ways to venerate some ancestor who's no longer here. It's a way to venerate a person and give them good energy, right? And when you venerate that person, when you venerate that energy, it amplifies them and gives them the power they need to be mighty on the other side. Well, what if you did that for your own ancestors? How strong would they be on the other side in order to contact, combat, and fight for you and on behalf of you in the unseen world? And so when you think of how religion in Western society has kind of dim a light on ancestral veneration, you can also see that same premise being in business. In business, like I said a few minutes ago, the number one premise is to cut out the middleman. That's the number one thing. And when you realize, oh my gosh, this is like completely opposite from what my culture teaches me. This is completely opposite than what nature's law is. It makes you want to just sit back and kind of, you know, take it all in and think, well, what else? What else? Right? We're adding things to the list. We're adding things to the list of things that are completely opposite from nature's law and nature's principles. And this is one of them. So think about that for a minute. I'm going to sit here and have my lemonade and meditate on that. Meditate on how the way God met you is the way you should access Him, right? And when you think about religion, religion eliminates ancestral veneration. Religion says access God through a son or a prophet or some other line other than your bloodline, other than the way that God created you, right? Which is through your mother and her mother and their mother and the ancestral line. It takes you around to Jesus or around to Muhammad or around to, you know, someone else. And the same is true when it comes to Western capitalistic ideas of business, cutting out the middleman and going straight direct. How they say direct to the plug, right? Direct to the connect. No, this is a part of our mind, a part of our psychology, a part of our way of thinking that needs to be cleaned. We need to know that how I met you is how I contact you. It's a way to protect yourself. It's a way to stay correct and stay orderly. And it's an unseen, unsaid, unspoken rule here in Africa. But when you show that you acknowledge and you know the culture, it will get you points, it will get you respect here. So when you come and you're introduced to a bunch of people, and they say, "Oh, how do I keep in contact with you?" You say, "Well, you can just reach me through X, Y, and Z. You can just reach me through this person or that person." That's the correct way to do things, right? Make yourself not easily accessible. Make yourself not a target. Protect yourself. Go through the right way. Go through the proper channels. Okay? So, food for thought, food for thought, food for thought. As you are in one thing, you are in all things. Or for some others of you, as above, so below. Okay? So, until next time, be well.